Okay, TH31 asks, how is your 6K from chargebacks?
My what?
TH31 asks, how is your $6,000 from chargebacks?
All of this starts over 5 years ago in October 12, 2012. Believe it or not, Etzer was an avid TF2 player and an incredibly prolific trader. Over his years, he'd acquired many high-value items. He had started off small and eventually began to trade items of higher and higher value using keys, unusuals, and in-game cosmetics. Another thing to note about these trades is that they sometimes involve large amounts of money, sometimes exceeding 1,000 US dollars. For a while, things were going pretty well. Nothing noteworthy really happened. That is, until April 14th of 2016, when Etzer used a chargeback system on PayPal in order to refund 5.5 thousand US dollars and possibly more worth of trade offer purchases. Now, you may be wondering why this is a big deal. He could have just refunded the trades because he didn't like them, right? Unfortunately, this was nowhere close to his intention. The thing about a PayPal chargeback is that it only refunds the transactions of funds, not the items that were traded. So, effectively, Etzer took back all the money he had given to these people. They were left without the cash he had been given, as well as the items they had given up in the first place. In the end, he was left with the money he returned and an in-game inventory worth over $13,000. Now, these are some pretty lofty claims. $5,000 is no joke. However, this isn't mere speculation. We have plenty of evidence to show that the events depicted happened exactly as stated. For one, let's start with the most visible, publicly accessible evidence. Etzer's trust page on backpack.tf. Backpack.tf is a TF2 trading site where you can link your Steam account. It keeps a record of not only your inventory of items, but also of your net worth from before and now. Etzer has an account on the site, as is to be expected of a serious trader. So what's so incriminating about this? Well, if we head over to the trust section, you'll see that it's full of negative reviews, all posted on the day of April 14th, 2016. Each one claims to have been scammed out of various sums of money, ranging from $40 all the way up to $1,400. And then, Etzer inexplicably disappeared from the account 8 days later. Also, the value of his TF2 backpack has fluctuated a lot in a short time span at 2017. This makes it highly probable that he has traded throughout that time. This already looks pretty bad for Etzer, but it's not really confirmation of anything. It's reviews on a trust page. They could have been botted, or faked, or any number of allegations that could be thought of, right? Him abandoning his account could just be an extreme coincidence. Well, don't worry, this rabbit hole goes much deeper. For starters, there's the fact that Etzer was banned from the website and other websites for the exact reason we claimed. Not only that, but there are 3 reports on SteamRep.com trying to get Etzer suspended, all of which are from people who also left trust reviews. However, this is nothing compared to the witness testimony. Yes, we were able to successfully contact many of the victims. Their testimony is, well, completely damning to say the least. The first person we were able to get into contact with was Frozec. Frozec lost a total of $900 due to Etzer's trading shenanigans. According to Frozec, Etzer made no attempt to contact them or redeem their purchase in any way. You'll notice as we go along that this is a pretty common theme. In addition, they also provided a link to a Steam group started by victims of Etzer's scamming. Notice how this group was created 2 years ago, exactly when all this shit went down. Now, finding this place gives access to tons of Etzer's victims. What do they have to say about it? Optimizer is yet another victim of Etzer's scamming, claiming to have had $40 stolen. He was not found in the aforementioned Steam group relating to this entire fiasco, but he did leave a review on Etzer's trust page. When asked about Etzer, he told us that Etzer charged back a PayPal transaction and then disappeared, never to contact him ever again. This is just like Frozec's experience, and as you'll come to see, it is similar to many others as well. Next is Half a Mustard. Like Optimizer, he was not in the group created by victims of Etzer, but he still left a review on Etzer's trust page. Half a Mustard claims to have been scammed out of $1,280. Again, like Frozec and Optimizer, he claims Etzer had made no attempt to contact him or redeem his purchase in any way, shape, or form. Pretty cut and dry. Yet another victim of Etzer's crimes. Bob lost $750 in Etzer's spree of chargebacks. Not much to say other than that, but once again, Bob claims Etzer made no attempt to contact him or redeem him in any way. And, as you may notice, Bob did not actually leave a negative review on Etzer's trust page. This, to us, shows that there could easily be other victims out there who just never bothered to reach out. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Lord Pickle got scammed $550 trading away in unusual. As you can see from this documented trade history, It goes from the possession of Lord Pickle to Etzer. And while Lord Pickle was unable to find screenshots of the chargeback email, the history has strong credibility. Like many other victims, he was in the Steam group and left a review on Etzer's trust page. However, he also tried to file a report against Etzer 2 times no less. The dates are all consistent with the time of the incident, as well as the history, making his word very trustworthy. Just is another victim who was found in both the Steam group and on the trust page. However, his case is a bit interesting. Just was scammed out of $200 trading away a rare knife, as it can be seen here. This shows proof that Etzer was involved with this, since he had stated that he added a trading offer in his TF2 Outpost account, which is linked to his Steam account. You may also notice that this trade is concentrated on CSGO, as there are no TF2 items here. This means Etzer had not only charged back trades from TF2, but also from CSGO. Yes, there could possibly be more victims not in contact on TF2, but this proves that there could be more from other games.
Now, you may be wondering where all the evidence is. I mean, witness testimony is great and all, but those people could have possibly set it up or something, right? Well, for one, that's a really stupid thing to say, considering their Steam profiles are linked through the training website. But even if that wasn't the case, this is where we get into the cold, hard, indisputable shit. And it starts with this guy, also known as Some Dude. Some Dude is yet another victim of Etzer, having $92 taken from him. However, Some Dude doesn't just attest to this happening, he has actual screenshots of not only the trade, but also the chargebacks. As you can see, it lines up perfectly with the dates. However, you might notice something in this, the name attached to them. The PayPal account is listed as Zeroff. However, that's not Etzer's name. His name is Ethan Zeroff. Not only that, but in the group, even one of the victims claims that Etzer's real name is most likely also based on the name in the chargeback records. So the question is, why is there a name inconsistency here? Well, the answer is pretty underwhelming. Etzer just uses mom accounts for the trades, which makes sense considering Etzer at the time was probably 15 or 16. So, now we not only have witnesses who claim they were scammed, but we also have screenshots of the PayPal chargebacks. The evidence is getting pretty stacked, but believe it or not, there's even more. Cash Money Online was hit hard by Etzer scamming, claiming to lose $1,450. And he still stands by this claim 2 years after the fact, as well as having the evidence to back up what he says. Not only does he have screenshots of the items being traded, and the transaction itself, but also Etzer's PayPal information. And even Etzer explicitly agreeing to the trade. Out of the many testimonies, Dispatcher's may be the most interesting. Like the other victims, Dispatcher was robbed of a substantial amount of money, in this case, $300. However, what makes Dispatcher unique is that he actually recovered his stolen money. Etzer gave it back. However, though you may think this looks good for Etzer, it actually buries him even deeper. This isn't actually a good thing. For one, it was not Etzer who initiated contact. Dispatcher had to reach out on his own, and even then he never actually talked directly to Etzer, but instead to his father, and Dispatcher had to badger him for months before he was compensated. On top of all that, this also dries up any excuse Etzer could possibly have about this. This simply couldn't be a situation where he just forgot or he did it on accident. He was confronted directly, and only after months of pestering was the money restored, and only to the person who contacted him and not to everyone else. Etzer must have known. I would like to tell you about kaimtime, but I think I'll just let him do it for me.
So, hello everybody. This is Vortex, and you are.
I am kaimtime, formerly known as Jewlander.
All right, cool. All right. So, first question: what is your place in the TF2 community? What are you most known for? What are your most notable achievements?
Sure. So I guess the thing I'm most known for is being a big time trader and collecting all of one of each unusual effect of the No Mercy unusual in TF2. And I'm also a streamer too, which I guess is what you probably know me for nowadays.
Alright, cool. So on April 14th, 2016, you left a review on Etzer's trust page claiming to have lost money equivalent to 150 keys due to a chargeback, which is $292. Can you confirm that this information in the review is accurate?
Yeah, I can definitely confirm that.
Alright. You've provided us with screenshots of emails received from PayPal showing both the transactions as well as the chargebacks. Can you confirm that these screenshots are in fact by you? And can you also confirm that these screenshots haven't been tainted by editing in any way other than to edit out personal information.
Yeah, the only thing ever done to those was blurring out anything about me personally.
Alright. Has Etzer made any attempt to contact you or redeem your purchase in any way?
No, I haven't even talked to him since I sold him the keys, and I'm pretty sure he removed and blocked me, so.
Oh, alright. That's about it. Do you have anything else noteworthy to say?
Not really. I hope he owns up to his actions and is a responsible person about this, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so too. Alright, that's about it.
Now, if that isn't enough evidence for you, I don't know what will be.
Okay, TH31 asks, how is your 6K from chargebacks?
My what?
TH31 asks, how is your $6,000 from chargebacks? I'm sure there's a backstory there. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I actually don't know what he's talking about either, to be honest. But I'd kind of like to know.
Next question. If you remember, we'll come back to it. But
Alright.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
All of this evidence seems really bad on Etzer and could have really affected his reputation with the community. What about Etzer's side? There are two sides to every story. While Etzer was doing a public Q&A with BoomKitty and others, I asked him a question related to the situation. His response was, well, unsatisfactory. However, he sent me a friend request after saying he didn't know what I was talking about. I was waiting for his response, but he was seemingly playing it like he was oblivious. After sending another message and next day pressuring him, he finally gave some answers. Etzer first makes a lengthy yet also vague response to the situation. He admits that he did not mention it on stream because it was a sensitive subject. He claims that the entire situation stems from a gambling addiction he had linked to TF2, and even goes as far to say it landed him in the hospital. However, there are two important things of note here. 1. He says that he's incapable of accessing his account and is unable to give the items back. And 2. He's trying to deal with it on an individual level, which seems to imply that he attempted to settle the claims directly with victims. You should already be seeing problems with his narrative, but let's just put this aside for now. In response, I call into question how much he actually tried to settle the disputes, bringing up how he didn't pay back a cent, as well as inferring that he might not have been really trying that hard to get back into his account. Surprise, surprise, he doubles down. He claims for the past 2 years, he's been working with the victims and paying them back when possible, even saying if he could find anyone and had the money, he'd pay them back. He also further elaborates on his inability to gain access to his account. Lastly, he says that he's trying to get Valve to give the items back, but they refuse. It's at this point you can see Etzer's defense coming apart. If you somehow don't remember, out of the 10 victims interviewed, only 1 said they were able to get their stolen money back, and he had to contact Etzer's father directly and beg for months. Let me repeat that it was the victim that had to contact Etzer, and not Etzer who reached out to the victims. Even if there are other victims that we did not know about that he was busy paying back, why is it that the victims who are most easily accessible to him through his own trust page didn't receive one bit of communication, not even to let them know that he was working to pay them back? It seems like a direct contradiction. In addition, it's highly probable that he's lying about his own ban. He says that his account was trade banned and cannot access certain features on Steam. If that is the case, why doesn't it show on his profile? I respond bringing up all these points as well as asking him which people specifically he contacted multiple times, and his response never answered that essential question. Instead, he provides yet more excuses for why he couldn't give the money back right away or contact the victims, saying that he had no access to those community features mentioned before. He also claimed that the victims could directly dispute with Valve and get their items back, and even said that many of them had done so. To the former point, there is still no indication on his profile that he is trade banned or VAC banned. It should be noted that his profiles on various trading websites do in fact have bans, as stated earlier. But even then, there are a whole host of other trading websites he could have used, and his Steam account is most definitely not banned. However, all that is insignificant when compared to one seemingly innocuous detail. Remember earlier when I said he came back to trade in 2017? This was inferred from the fact that Etzer's TF2 backpack made huge fluctuations back then. Notice that the amount of items in his inventory fluctuates before landing back down on the previous value. This makes it highly probable that he had traded throughout that time. That said, the latter of these two claims are impossible. Valve explicitly states that they will not refund people who are scammed. Their policy is very explicit about this and has stayed the exact same even before all this occurred. So either Etzer is incredibly confused, or, more likely, he's outright lying about this fact. After presenting all this to Etzer, he said his last attempted explanation. He once again doubles down on the idea that he contacted victims, saying it was done outside of Steam. And while we know this is the case for Dispatcher with his dad, As stated before, no other victims received any attempted contact. Even if you want to claim it's victims we don't know about, he never actually provided names. On top of that, it's ludicrous to say that it's up to the victims to contact him when it's him who wronged them. There is one thing we did not address about Etzer's responses, his claims of why he charged the purchases back. Etzer, throughout his responses, claims that the chargebacks were due to an error on the part of the bank. For spending exuberant amounts of money on TF2, the bank automatically charged back all purchases between a certain time period. Now I could go into some reasons why this doesn't really add up, such as how a bank can't charge back any purchases without the permission of the cardholder, but frankly it's actually somewhat believable. Your card issuer, aka the bank, can do this sort of thing with your permission, and they can make mistakes. This sort of situation has happened even within the community. Slice, one of Crazy Man 50's top donators, had all of his donations charged back after his parents tried to charge back a single fraudulent purchase. So it's not too much of a stretch to say something similar could have happened to Etzer. However, it's also reasonable to assume that the bank would have fixed an error like this after 2 years, and this is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Assume that they did it without his permission, which is frankly impossible. And even then, the reason I didn't mention it is because it simply doesn't matter. Even if the chargeback itself was somehow a 1 in a million freak accident, the fact of the matter is that Etzer didn't do jack shit after all this time to pay anyone back. As stated countless times before, the victims never received any contact from Etzer or a representative of Etzer unless they were the one who initiated it. And even in that case, it took months and months to actually get what they deserved. The simple fact is, whether or not the chargebacks were intentional, Etzer still made off with all that money and never paid it back. All of this begs the question. What does all of this mean? What does it mean for the victims, for Etzer, and for the community at large? Well, what it means first and foremost is that Etzer is a criminal. According to US law, Etzer has committed fraud. This also means Etzer's a liar. Etzer stated to me that he only discloses one-on-one to people who have found out. There is another much less in-depth video about this topic in which the poster claimed Etzer had apologized for his actions. Even if he did apologize, what does it matter? He still hasn't given any of the money back. Think about the potential implications of this. Etzer is undoubtedly the golden boy of Geometry Dash. He's beloved and trusted, so much so that he hosts game-wide competitions. And this whole time, Etzer was hiding his nefarious deeds. REUPLOAD, as well as the community at large, has put their trust in a thief and a criminal. That, to us at least, is a pretty scary thought. So what's Etzer's course of action moving forward? How can he possibly redeem himself after this? And well, the answer is that it won't be easy. However, we feel that what he could do right now is publicly apologize, but the best thing would be to refund all the money he stole. No matter which way he chooses, we feel that whatever he does next to redeem himself should start with that. Overall, it's clear that Etzer fucked up, big time. He made high value trades, charged all of it back with PayPal, disappeared, and then tried to pretend it never happened. Does that make him completely irredeemable? No. It's been 2 years, and someone can mature a lot in that amount of time, especially as an adolescent. However, it's not gonna be simple or easy. He needs to take drastic action in some way. In the interests of the victims, he needs to be held accountable for his actions, just like anyone else would. If you truly like Etzer, you should want him to be better, and in order to do that, Etzer needs to atone for what he's done. No. You know what? Wait. I changed my mind. I've decided it's all okay though, because in the end, he apologized, right?
Round of applause to Etzer for making the rest of y'all look real bad.
Alright.